Welcome, everyone, to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly intense, fast-moving situation that is literally unfolding across multiple state lines as we speak. We are tracking the details of a highly complex, active manhunt for an alleged killer who is currently evading law enforcement. The sheer scale of the cover-up here and the evasion tactics being used are honestly staggering. So by breaking down the facts, we're going to understand exactly how this search is playing out in real time. Okay, let's dive right into this. It sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, but I assure you the dramatic stakes here are incredibly real. How does someone just disappear when multiple police agencies are hunting for them? Well, the answer lies in constant motion, manipulation, and the ability to completely shed one identity for another. When the person you're looking for is essentially a ghost, someone who refuses to stay in one place or even use their real name, that net has to be cast incredibly wide. So here's the core of the tragedy and the massive ongoing problem we're examining today. A 43-year-old Florida father named Jason Colhart was found brutally murdered. Now, law enforcement has worked aggressively, and because of that, 5 different accomplices who allegedly aided in the cover-up are sitting in jail right now. But the primary suspect, the alleged killer, completely off the grid. Based on her history and her network, authorities believe she could be hiding anywhere across Florida, Georgia, or Alabama.
Section 1. The Shallow Grave Discovery, Uncovering the Truth.
It all kicks off on May 24th. That's when Jason Colhart was first reported missing from Niceville, Florida. For over a week, absolute silence. No answers. But then, on June 2nd, a frantic 911 call comes in. The suspect's own roommate called to report that a dog had actually unearthed human remains in their yard. Crazy, right? But here's the thing. It wasn't until June 25th, weeks later, that police finally received the actionable intelligence they needed from a witness to go in, discover, and recover those remains. Now, what's really interesting about this is exactly how police got that crucial break. One of the suspect's roommates, a guy named James W. Teal, was initially terrified to speak to investigators. He was worried about retaliation. But according to police affidavits, Teal had recently received a terminal cancer diagnosis. Facing his own mortality, he essentially decided he had nothing left to lose. He literally uttered this exact quote to investigators. That one pivotal moment, breaking his silence, blew the entire investigation wide open. And the details that Teal and others provided, they led police to a truly horrific scene off Sunset Lane in Freeport. Guys, this wasn't just a hasty burial. This was an elaborate, desperate concealment. They dug the grave right next to a storage shed. And to stop the dog from digging it up again, they actually poured fresh concrete over live grass. And if that wasn't enough, they parked a black Cadillac sedan right on top of the concrete. When authorities finally excavated the site, they found the victim with a large white zip tie secured tightly around his neck. Moving on to Section 2, a web of accomplices, covering up a crime. This network they uncovered is honestly shocking. We are looking at 5 distinct individuals who are all currently facing second-degree felony accessory charges. They literally risk their own freedom to help her evade capture. First, you got Bobby Wagstaff, the roommate who allegedly helped dig the hole, claiming he thought it was just too deep in a fire pit. Then you have 2 different couples. Martin and Sandra Leverton bonded the suspect out of a Georgia jail on unrelated charges, gave her rides, and handed her a burner phone. Finally, Michael White and Kathleen Morris supplied the suspect with an off-the-grid safe house, totally hooked up with running water, AC, and a fully stocked fridge. But as you can imagine, keeping an alleged murderer hidden is not an easy gig, and this criminal network devolved into absolute chaos pretty fast. Just look at these frantic text messages police recovered from June 27th. Kathleen Morris is texting Martin Leverton, completely panicking about the suspect sleeping on her couch. You can feel the paranoia setting in. They are suddenly waking up to the massive legal jeopardy they're in, and the whole network starts rapidly fracturing under the pressure of the looming police investigation. And you can see the cover-up scrambling in real time right here through Leverton's response. Behind the scenes, these accomplices were desperately texting each other about moving the suspect from property to property, buying new burner phones, and specifically figuring out how to hide her 2 backpacks, which, by the way, police believe contain critical evidence. They were working overtime to keep her just one step ahead of the Walton County Sheriff's Office. Section 3. The Master Manipulator. Aliases and Tactics. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute nightmare law enforcement is facing right now. It all comes down to identity. Her real name is Isabelle Rose Johnson, but honestly,
You might as well throw that out the window. She uses a constantly rotating list of aliases. She goes by Jessica Bowman, Jessica Thrush, Denise. It's wild. She is so entrenched in this lifestyle that for the first week of the investigation, police were asking around using her real name, and her own associates had no idea who they meant. Why? Because even her closest accomplices only knew her as Harley.
Her survival out there basically boils down to a very specific 3-step manipulation cycle. Step 1, adopt disguises. She frequently wears hats, glasses, and allegedly cuts or dyes her hair to change her look. Step 2, fabricate hardships. The sheriff's office says she is a master at playing on people's sympathies. For example, right after the body was found, she walked into a Destin tattoo shop, pretended to be a desperate victim of domestic violence, and successfully got a sympathetic clerk to complete Step 3 for her, secure resources. That clerk actually paid for her Uber to an accomplice's safe house. Section 4. Identifying the fugitive. Permanent markers.
So the crucial point is this. Disguises can be taken off. Hair can be dyed, but tattoos? Those are permanent. Isabelle Rose Johnson is 5'3" and weighs around 120 pounds. But what you really need to look for is a very distinctive rose flower tattoo on her left hand. It extends right from below her thumb to her index finger. She also has an unknown design tattooed on her right ankle, and a large scorpion tattoo going from her left buttock down her left thigh. Even if her hair and clothes change, these markers will absolutely give her away.
Finally, Section 5. The ongoing manhunt. The search continues.
Authorities are definitely not backing down, and they're putting some serious financial weight behind this search. Right now, there is a massive combined reward of $16,000 on the table. That's a pooled fund from Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers, the Florida Sheriff's Association, and the U.S. Marshals Task Force. They're offering this chunk of cash entirely for actionable information that directly leads to her arrest. They know somebody out there knows something, and they're betting this number is big enough to break their silence.
Which leaves us with the most vital question of all. Have you seen her? Law enforcement is getting tips every single day from Florida, Georgia, and northern Alabama. If you spot a woman matching her description, if you catch a glimpse of that rose tattoo on the left hand, or if you run into someone spinning a desperate, sympathetic story just to get a ride or use a phone, do not approach her. You are urged to immediately call 911. A brutal crime happened. The accomplices are locked away, but the final piece of the puzzle is still out there. Will a simple tip from someone watching this finally bring this manhunt to an end? Keep your eyes open and stay safe out there.